I am Mrs. Havlicek and I teach art over at Indian Creek, and I am here to present a lesson to you, kind of going off of Mr. Brandt's lesson of bubble letters, and we are going to be doing 1 point perspective letters like this. So it's a lot of fun. The materials you're going to need are a pencil to write with, a piece of paper. You will also need to think about a word that makes you feel joyful, something that gives you joy. So, as you can see in my sample, I put cake because I love cake, especially birthday cake. But think of a word that best describes how you feel when you feel joy. So I think of my pets, my family, maybe it's a person, or it could be a certain food or a certain game that you like to play that makes you feel happy. And so think of that word, and then also what you need to do is think about how many letters are in that word so we can get our spacing right across our paper here. So if there are 3 letters, then obviously you're going to place 1 letter on this side, here, and then on the other side. One of the first things we're going to do, and you always want to draw light until you get it right, is we're going to draw a horizon line across our paper. And on that horizon line, and it doesn't have to be perfect, okay, I'm not even using a ruler. Go ahead and put your vanishing point. And I'm going to label that vanishing point so that you can all see that that is my vanishing point. But you know what? You don't have to label it vanishing point. Everything's going to look like it merges to that dot. The word that makes me happy, I am going to write, I'm just going to write joy, because I want you to see how to do 3 simple letters. But another word that you could do is, this morning I'm thinking coffee. Coffee makes me happy. But you're going to do these bubble letters just like Mr. Brandt taught you last week, where you stencil them out. And I am going to just place my J here, my O in the middle, and my Y here. And these are my skeletons for my letters. And then we're going to carefully trace around it. Now, if you have straight letters and you want to use a straight edge, like a ruler or the side of a book or something, that's up to you. You can do that. And remember, to make the letters look thicker, you make that inside insert a little farther away from your first skeleton line. If at any time you need to stop the video and catch up, that is fine with me. Go ahead and do that. So after you get all of your letters traced around, I'll kind of describe that as like a cloud around your letters or a balloon around your letters, then you erase the inside skeleton, your first line. So that was pretty easy. Obviously, if you have more letters, you will have more lines going back to the vanishing point here in a little bit. So it's a little more work, but it does look really neat to do. Okay, the next step, let me clear this off, clean it off a little bit, is to take all of the corners that are closest to your dot, and I like to make just another dot on those corners of the letters. This one here is not one of the closest ones to the dot, so I'm not going to do that one. This one I would do, and this one, because you're going to see that line kind of coming back to the distance. And I am going to show you how to do that curved edge here too. Okay, this one's a curved letter, so it doesn't have any corners. We're not going to do anything to that. This one has a couple of dots that are close to the edge. Like that. Okay, so off of the dots that you just made that are closest to the vanishing point, this is just like doing our 1-point perspective pictures. You're going to take your straight edge, line it up to the dot, your vanishing point, and draw a line going back. Now again, you want to draw light till you get it right. So I'm drawing light, and I'm just going to turn my ruler. Nope, that one doesn't need a line going back to the dot. Remember, we didn't mark that one. But this one down here will. So once you run into your letter, you want to stop, because there's no need to have it going back all the way to the dot there, because we're just showing this plane here. Very good. Oh, we need to do this line going back to the dot. It is really important that you check your line and go right to the dot, because if you kind of slide your ruler and you go over here, it's not going to look like a 1-point perspective because you're not on the vanishing point. And I've got to do this line here. See how those lines all match up with the dot? Very good. Now this edge, there should be a line going back there as well, so we can kind of see that side of the J. So to get that edge, what you do is you take and you line up with your ruler at the vanishing point, and as soon as you run in to the edge there, you go ahead and draw your line back. So it's actually going to stop here because it runs into the J. That looks really good. And that is how you do the J. We'll cut it off here in a little bit. So the O is a lot like the corner of the J here, the edge of the J. So we're going to go ahead and do that by lining up with our dot. Once we hit that corner, or that edge, we have to stop. And since it's right underneath the dot, it looks a little different. It doesn't go back at an angle. It kind of goes straight back. Again, draw light till you get it right. And now I'm going to turn my ruler and go off of this side of it because I'm on the other side of the paper. Again, at any time, if you need to stop the video to catch up, please do. This point is going to run into the line, so I don't need to do that one. There we go. We're looking good. Same thing here. We don't need to do that point, but we do need to do this point here. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the dot there. Okay, so now that we have our word all going back to the vanishing point, I'm going to show you some tricks on how to stop your letters so they don't continue on forever to that vanishing point. What I like to do to stop the letters is draw another line kind of at my stopping point here, and it's going to be a really faint line. You barely see it. Can you see that okay? I can, so I'm going to leave it. But this is where the top, you're looking at the line that is in front of it. So this one is a nice horizontal line. So I'm going to go ahead and make that horizontal line here to stop my J. I'm looking at this edge here, and this edge is a vertical line, so that is going to be the stopping point of my J. So you can see, and you can go ahead then and make your outlines a little darker. Sometimes I like to do that so I can tell where my letters are. And you can do that with a Sharpie. I'm just doing it with a pencil right now so that you can see it. Now if I wanted to stop this part of the J, then I would just come back here and I can stop it right there if I wanted to and erase this line. So that then looks like that's the stopping part of the J. And this would run into it, so I'm not going to do anything to that. Okay? So my O is a little different. I'm going to outline my O in the word joy. And since this is a curved line, I can't do it straight across or it's going to look silly. So I'm going to go ahead and make it a curved line back here where it ran into that line that I drew so lightly. And that would be the top of my O. And then for my Y, since my line is a diagonal line, you're learning a lot of words here, I'm going to go ahead and continue that diagonal line so it's parallel to the one in front of it. This is a nice vertical. So I'm going to go about the same distance back and make that vertical line about right there. So see, this distance here and this distance is the same. And then right back here we have a nice diagonal that I'm going to go ahead and just make that Y shape back here to repeat it so that you can see where that Y will cut off then. All right, so now what we will do is erase all of these lines that go back to the vanishing point. Very good. And darken up our letters so that we see them, and then we can color them in later. So that is our word. And you know, looking at this, I'm thinking I do need another line kind of right in here, but it would merge into it. So I'm gonna have that kind of faint there. Okay, now it's the fun part where you get to color. You can color using markers or color pencils or whatever materials you have to color with. I decided to shade my my front of my letters one color, and then the back going back into the distance another color, using a little more value so that it makes it look like it's going farther away. You can do that if you want to, or you can just decorate your letters. And then I decided to do something fun in the background. If doing letters is too challenging for you and you want to take a different route and try it as something to simplify this lesson, what you can do is make your vanishing point and practice with this first if the letters are too hard. Make your vanishing point on your horizon line and then just draw out a few shapes, okay? So you could do a square and use a straight edge when you're doing your square. And then you could do a circle and you could do a blob. Whatever shapes you want. Again, you take the edges that are closest to the dot, and these, since they have no points, aren't going to get my dots, and you make a dot on them. Then you're going to line up your straight edge and merge those corners back to your vanishing point. So practice this step if the words are too, or the letters are too challenging at the beginning. You'll get better with more practice. Again, with a circle or any other blob shape, you're just going to take the farthest edge when it comes and meets up. See how I'm lining it up with that dot? And merging that to my shape. Same thing here. And this is my closest corner. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line back there. Now, to cut these off, I'm going to draw a line. Oh, let's just cut them off right there. So, of course, you'll use your straight edge to do, since that is a horizontal line and a vertical line. So I've got my nice horizontal and vertical to cut off my square. This is a curved edge, so right back here I'll do a curved edge. And then for this one, I've got to try to repeat that. So I kind of trace it with my pencil first, and then do the same shape back here. And then you can erase those drafting lines. Now if you go above the horizon line, it's going to look a little different, and I'm going to do a quick shape above the horizon line because your lines go down, and so it will look different than mine going up with merging to the vanishing point. So it all depends on your placement, and then again you'll make your cutoff the same way. Or if you want to be really silly, you can just turn your paper and have it upside down too. So I hope that you have fun trying this challenge. Again, if this is too hard making the letters, I ask you to just try doing simple shapes. And then you can make decorations within your shapes using color pencils or crayons or markers or whatever designs you want to do. It's been fun working with you, and enjoy this challenge this week. I hope you're all staying safe. And until next time, have a great art day.